We'll get started with breaking news in Norfolk tonight here at 6. A hung jury leads to the mistrial for a man accused in the murder of ODU student Chris Cummings.
The wait for justice, more than a decade, will have to wait a bit longer. Tonight, reaction to this decision or lack thereof by a jury. Good evening and thank you for joining us. This breaking news gets us started at 6.
Hours of deliberations couldn't get a jury to a unanimous decision for a man charged in the death of an ODU student back in 2011. Javon Doyle faced more than a dozen charges, including first-degree murder in the death of Chris Cummings. But just before 4 this afternoon, the jury came back saying they couldn't get there in the case. 10 on your side's Lauryn has been in the courtroom for this trial and has reaction from Cummings' loved ones. Lauryn?
Well, after more than 10 hours of deliberations, the 12 jurors couldn't come to a unanimous decision on whether or not one of the men accused of killing Chris Cummings was guilty or not. Javon Doyle is one of the 4 men accused of having a role in a June 2011 home invasion. In the early morning hours, Chris Cummings' roommate heard multiple footsteps going up to Cummings' room. He heard yelling and then gunshots rang out. Cummings was shot in the face and abdomen and died at the scene. His roommate, Jake Carey, was shot 4 times. He survived his injuries. Doyle faced multiple charges, including first-degree murder. Deputy Commonwealth's attorney Cynthia Collard said the motive in this case was marijuana that Cummings was selling and money. She said the 4 men didn't go into the house trying to kill Cummings, but she said they ran into a problem. Cummings fought back. The medical examiner testified about the bruising on his hand and a shoe print on his body that was consistent with blunt force trauma. Doyle's attorney, Emily Munn, said Doyle didn't do anything more than just knowing the other 3 men involved. She said, quote, "Sounds like the Commonwealth doesn't know if he was there." The jury deliberated on the case for more than 10 hours. Before noon, the jury foreperson wrote in a note to the judge that the vote was 10-2 and it wasn't going to change. The judge told them to make one more honest attempt. The jury took another 3 hours to deliberate, but in the end, they couldn't all agree, resulting in a hung jury. After the decision, we spoke with Cummings' father. He's been in the courtroom from the beginning of the trial. He felt the evidence showed Doyle was guilty. He said the mistrial was disappointing.
For this case, I wanted him to be convicted. I want somebody to pay for the death of my son. So the only thing that I wanted was a conviction in this case. A hung jury or acquittal, of course, wouldn't do.
The Commonwealth's attorney asked for the case to be retried. It could happen as early as September 21st. In Norfolk, Lauryn, 10 on your side.